Hello, I'm Fred Grooms. Thanks for stopping in and checking out my post today. If you'd like to know more about me, go to fredgrooms.com. Today I want to focus in on students who have some sort of diagnosed learning issue. You can call it a disability if you like. Lots of different kinds out there, lots of different acronyms to describe them. But I think these four principles apply to all of the diagnoses, whatever it happens to be. They're accountability, consequences, rescue, and punishment. A friend of mine called me just the other day because her student who is diagnosed with ADD has an issue that she's just doesn't know what to do with anymore. Super young man, super smart, but he's got two issues that drive his parents absolutely crazy. First is that he has no hurry up speed. He can't hurry up to save his life. The reason is he's always being distracted by something else that's slowing him down. The other thing is that if his head was not attached to his shoulders, he'd forget it most of the time. That's the case in point here, is that he has a project that he's supposed to do outside of class. On day 3 arriving home from school, he doesn't have the material he needs in order to do the project. Now his mom calls me and says, "What am I supposed to do? Just let him fail?" Well, that's an option. I don't really think it's a good one, but it is an option. She asked me this question, and I will be honest with you, it stirred up some emotion with me. She said, had I ever been punished for my dyslexia, my inability to read and do math? Well, the answer was, yeah, I was. Now, I'm not saying my parents were mean or horrible, because they certainly weren't. But there were times where I just didn't get what I was supposed to get done. And there were times it was because of my dyslexia, not because of my give-a-care factor. It was my inability to perform because of my dyslexia. Well, that's what she wants to avoid. She doesn't want to punish her son for being ADD. But she does need to get his work done. So she's done some things right. First, she is holding her son accountable. The notion of accountability goes across the board for all students, for all people. We have to be accountable for our behavior. No diagnosis of any kind of learning issue is an excuse to misbehave. There are times where you're going to have to sit down, be quiet, and pay attention. There are times where you're going to have to perform to standard. It's just the way the world is. And you're going to have to do that. The other thing is that once you have accountability established, then there's consequences for that basic accountability. If you're not behaving, there are consequences for it. If you're not performing to standard, you're going to have to suffer the consequences for that. And she's done that. She's holding him accountable, and she's had consequences. This young man has had no TV, no video games, no friends, no cell phones, no computer, nothing for the last 3 days. But what does she do now? Does she just let him fail because he's got ADD and can't remember to bring his work home? No, I don't think he should fail. What I think she should do is rescue him. I know, that's what I said, rescue. Drive over to the school, get the stuff he needs to have so that he can do the project. Then the cycle starts over again, where he needs to be held accountable. He has to have consequences for the work that he does or doesn't do after she gets it. And then ultimately, perhaps punishment because he doesn't meet the standard. There are times where students with diagnosed disabilities, learning issues, have to be rescued. I know for me, there were times that I was rescued, and if I wasn't, I wouldn't have been able to continue on academically. And I appreciate that. The last element there is punishment. There are times where you have to be punished. Now, I want to make sure that we understand that I don't believe that punishment is a long-term motivator. We have to figure out how to motivate people to get things done. And ultimately, repeated punishment doesn't work. Also, I think punishment needs to fit the crime. Too often parents and educators, we want to issue a death sentence for a misdemeanor crime. So I hope you find some encouragement here if you having to deal with your own student, your own children who have learning issues. Remember that we need to hold them accountable. There are consequences for our actions. There are times where we need to rescue people, and there are times where punishment is appropriate. I hope you found this helpful. If you'd like to know more about me, visit my website at fredgrooms.com. And remember, you have unique strengths. No one can give them to you, and no one can take them away. Have a good day.